Hello. Going to talk about gerrymandering now. What is gerrymandering? Gerrymandering is the way that we draw districts for electoral purposes, right? At the state level, you draw a bunch of state level districts, which are going to be smaller, and your state representatives will come out of those districts and represent those districts in the state house and the state legislature. Your state legislature will also draw your congressional map, which will divide the state up into the number of districts that you have that equals the number of congressional members that you have in the House of Representatives. And then, of course, every state gets two senators, which we've talked about before is a serious problem. The problem on the House of Representatives side right now, the inequities that exist on the House of Representatives side, is that when you have state legislatures that are controlled by one party and not another, those state legislatures then have the power to draw the district lines in such a way that will favor their party and punish the other party, right? That's called political gerrymandering. They can also draw district lines, congressional district lines, to favor one race over another. That's called racial gerrymandering. And we've had that happen a lot, right? Where you have a state that's, let's say, one third black, two thirds white. Um, you can draw the lines, congressional lines, in such a way that all those black people, right, one third of the black people, um, they all go into one congressional district. Now, is the member from that district going to be black? Probably. Um, but remember, let's say you have 10 districts overall, and black people are a third of the population. You would think that maybe a third, so maybe three on a good cycle, even four members would be black. No, right? If you draw the map in a certain way, you can put all the black people into one district, and you're going to have to, it's all going to look squiggly. Like, look at the map, look at the article, right? I posted the article. It's from the New York Times, so it's one that you're probably not going to be able to access. So I copied it and pasted it and put it in the folder for you, under the content tab, um, about gerrymandering. So look at some of the maps, right? Look at the way those maps are drawn. Um, that will that will seriously hinder, the people who are not in power, right? Sometimes they can do it based upon race. These days, more often than not, it's being based upon party, which has some overlay with race. So, um, we really only do this process once every 10 years, right? We're required under the Constitution to take a census every 10 years. We just took it in 2020. So we count everybody in the country. And when we count everybody in the country, then we know where everybody is, we know who they are, and then we can decide where all the congressional seats go, right? Well, once they divvy those things up again every 10 years, then the state legislatures redraw the maps, right? So that they can reapportion the seats the way that they need to be reapportioned. But what really matters at that point is what party is in control of the state legislature of the particular states. In Georgia, Republicans control the state legislature. So what they're going to do, is probably redraw the maps in such a way that favor the Republicans, and they did that. They did that in 2010. We had a um, we had a competitive, uh, Democratic, member of Congress from this area, and they basically did away with his district. Right? They drew the map in such a way that his district no longer existed. So um, that's the power that gerrymandering has. So gerrymandering is a way to skew the vote in your favor. And the way that I mean, basically, the way that you do that is you pack all of your opponents into one district, and then you take your group of people, spread them out through all of the other districts, and make them majorities, sometimes bare majorities in those other districts, so that you can win all of those other districts, right? That's essentially the way that you have to do it. Sometimes you have to pack your opponent. You have to pack your opponent into two districts, right, or whatever, how many ever it looks, right? There are states that don't gerrymander in that way, but given our heavy partisanship in America right now, it's just going to happen. They're going to draw districts so that um, they favor one party over the other. A part of this HR 1 bill that's in Congress that I don't know if it'll ever get a reading um, because of the filibuster. Um, is to have nonpartisan drawing of districts. I don't know what they would use. I don't know if it would be like a commission that would draw the districts in nonpartisan ways, or if it would be some sort of computer model. I don't know what it would be, but it would try to draw them in nonpartisan ways. So, um, yeah, so that's essentially what gerrymandering is and the power that it has, right? If we looked closely at the number of people that voted for Republicans in our current House of Representatives, my guess is it's going to be a lot less than the number of seats that they have, percentage wise. I'm going to look that up real quick. Hold on, I'm going to pause. Okay, so I looked it up. The popular vote percentage was about 3.1 percentage points in favor of the Democrats, and the seat arrangement is about a little more than 2 percentage points in favor of Democrats. So it's close, right? The gerrymandering is sort of not, I guess, I mean, the gerrymandering is bad, but the gerrymandering didn't come up as much in this particular instance. Democrats um, received almost 5 million more votes than Republicans did in your congressional House of Representatives seats this past election, 2020. Um, but the Democrats lost a lot of seats in this particular time. And they are almost guaranteed to lose control of the House of Representatives in 2022 just on the basis of gerrymandering alone, right? The Republican state legislatures can write out, they can map out enough seats that the Republicans will take control of the House of Representatives. So that's how much power gerrymandering has right now. So HR 1, I think, is supposed to begin to try to deal with this issue, but again, I have absolutely no hope that HR 1 is going to get passed. So yeah, that's where we are. Well, I'll talk to you later. Let's see. Wait, do I have anything else I want to talk about? Oh, is the Senate broken? Read that article. That's all about the filibuster. I think the Senate is broken. I mean, it's not even a close call in my book. It's broken. It's a broken institution. It simply does not function and work right now. So we've got to we've got to rethink it or do away with it. My best option, right, is to do away with it because it's not fair for states to be represented equally when some states have, I mean, just an enormous amount of population compared to very, very small populations in some states. So, like Montana, Idaho, um, Rhode Island, right? I mean, all of those states, they have two senators, but have very small populations, right? And California's huge. Texas is huge, right? Um, Alaska. Why does Alaska get two senators, right? There are enough people in Alaska to have two senators. California's got 30 something million people. Alaska doesn't even have a million. So, but they've got the same representation, right? It's not fair. That's not fair. When their senators have the same weight and authority as the weight and authority of 30 million people in California, it's not fair. Anyway, yeah, the institution I think needs to go, but nobody's gonna. I don't think anybody's gonna do that. So the best thing that we can hope for right now is some sort of reform on the filibuster. Um, I'm not holding out hope for that either. So, all right, talk to you later.